So here at this little preschool, kindergarten, on the outskirts of Lviv, an international delegation has arrived to present a bunch of generators. Not textbooks, not crayons, not school supplies. Generators. So that they continue to educate and care for the children. Because as bad as war is out on the front lines, in many ways, the cost to the children of Ukraine of this war is paramount. And it's always, at the end of the day, what affects me most in a war zone: the kids.
Ви чуєте там, які ви розумні? Дивіться, до нас приїхали гості.
Мама світла.
З Польщі, з Америки.
А де може бути? Він пішов всередину зараз вийде, він кличе всякого.
And to raise money to help support psychological services
to help bring light in a time where you've experienced some extreme darkness.
But because of our background, we were especially concerned about Ukraine's children.
Here at this school in Lviv, the Ukrainian Children's Action Program, led by Dr. Erwin Redletter and his wife Karen, are presenting something really important to the children who have come and are internally displaced within Ukraine: tablets. And as many of us know who went through the COVID lockdowns with remote learning, that can be a very important tool. It's important that the children don't have an interrupted education during this war. At such a fundamental age, even the loss of a year, 2, 3, it could be devastating to their growth. And so this tool, this simple thing of a tablet, could make all the difference in a child's life. Это не только для YouTube или игры. Надо сделать домашнее задание тоже. Согласен? Окей. All right. Удачи. Как ты будешь использовать? Только игры, YouTube или домашнее задание? Ну, окей, честный ответ. Ладно. Только YouTube, игры или домашнее задание? Не льешь меня? Обещаешь? Okay. All right. Good. Удачи. There are a couple things that I am getting from this in many different ways. At first, they were shy and a little bit embarrassed that they were receiving help, gifts from a stranger who came from afar. But then as this progressed, you could see the children, you know, they're getting new toys, basically. They're getting a tablet. So they're happy. It's kind of like Christmas, you know. But the mothers, it's the mothers and the fathers, the parents, mostly mothers, because many of the fathers are out in the front. But you can tell the gratitude. I had a woman speaking to me who'd come here from Kharkiv. She almost broke into tears, being so grateful at receiving this tool that'll help her child continue her education. And it makes me reflect on the spirit of the strength of the human spirit and the resilience. And the children, yeah, you can tell they've been through a lot, but they're also children. And the smiles came out, and the 1,000-yard stares disappeared. and they were back to being kids. So, these are a tough, resilient people, and they're going to be just fine.
А Тимур вас розписався, так? Так.
What has been the effect on children of losing this year of not only seeing the war, but losing their education?
Yeah, it's very big losses, yes, because a lot of children cannot like opportunity to live in normal condition. We in Ukraine, we like every in the world, country in the world, we have 2 years of COVID, right? And after that, this year of war. And children need some better mental health very often, and some conditions when electricity is just sometimes in special hours, and you must think about it and afraid. It depends from the psychic. Some is adopted better, other is worse, and try to learn is not easy, and we have a gap in knowledge.
Yeah, I wonder if you can explain to me a little bit about I have a concern about this generation of children that are going through the war and what that will mean in 20 years when they're adults, the trauma of the war. How concerned are you about the generation that will grow up in Ukraine with this trauma?
It depends what will be next. If will be next victory and success, it will be very competitive people on the market of job too. But some that have not so strong psychic will be more like loose and will be not so strong. It depends. Somebody will learn better, and other will be in the same situation.
And is Ukraine going to have a program? Does Ukraine have a program to deal with this? Because you don't want children who are traumatized growing up and living with trauma and then drinking too much or being abusive.
It can be.
Is there a plan to deal with that?
At the moment, no. We just think about it and speak about it, and we really need help in it, because we have not enough money for one psychologist at the school, for example, for 1,000 children. We really need it, because with trauma we need more and more to speak, to communicate. Very important is to understand how trauma is traumatized to you, right? And what is your next step to do? At the moment, we don't know how big this trauma is, because if I don't know, he was a girl, 5 years old. She doesn't speak for today because she hears this missiles, this bomb, and after that she doesn't speak. It's something like this one. It's something that we must go step by step. But other that has stronger psychic can live in normal conditions. It will be some mixed.
Well, let's hope for the best.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you for
must.
talking to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Welcome to Lviv.
Well, thank you so much, Phil.
Dr. Erwin Redliner is here with me in Lviv on a day where we've had a lot of Russian attacks, potential attacks, air raid sirens going on throughout the day. And before we kind of get into the depth of what the Ukrainian Children's Action Program, which you're here with, I want to touch on this whole idea of, you and I are frustrated when we get air raid sirens. We're a little bit scared maybe, but we're more frustrated.
Yeah.
We can think through it. But what do you think it means for a child to learn at a very formative age that there might be people out there who purposely want to do them harm, potentially even kill them? We can process it, but what do you think it means to a kid to learn at an early age that you might... Somebody's out there who wants to hurt them?
There's a few things going on simultaneously, and first of all, when it first starts, and very much age dependent, and for really young children, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, their attitude is going to be very much dependent on what their moms are thinking and doing. So if the moms look stable and reassuring, everything is fine. When they start to get a little older and they're hearing explosions, that can be disconcerting. But on the other hand, also very dependent on how the adults around them are handling it. But for older children, it's traumatic initially, and eventually there's really, two ways it can go. One is that some kids will adapt rather relatively quickly, and by adapt I mean they won't be terrified each time it happens, and they will get like some adults who are just kind of frustrated and I just want to go to school. Why am I here in this basement? And I think that gets dreary for some kids. And for some kids, it still remains terrifying. And especially in a place like Lviv, which had been pretty much a safe haven for a long period of time, it has become not so safe, not as secure feeling as it once was. So there's different ways that children are handling it. And then, of course, there's the kids who are just very diligent about it. They hear the alarm, they just want to go down in the basement because they understand on a rational basis that it may not be safe.
Yeah, it's almost a sad thing to realize that kids kind of get acclimatized to it. I mean, we're glad that they're safe, but it's sad that they have to go through it. Let's talk in larger terms about what the Ukrainian Children's Action Program is trying to achieve here in Ukraine. We went to that thing yesterday where you were distributing tablets so that kids could remote learn, because of course we learned later that schoolrooms can't be full because not every child can go to an air raid shelter if that's what happens. So they split it, and that was fascinating to me. But I want to know, what have you learned from being here on the ground?
So one of the things is that children who are coming here from other parts of the country that are under attack in the south and in the east especially, they are also overloading the schools. The schools may or may not be able to handle them. And for many children who are here, who live here, it may be just very stressful being in the classroom also. So the teachers are stressed, the children are stressed, the parents are stressed. And one of the things that we're concerned about is that because of the stress from the environment, that the programs that we need to focus in our programs on how teachers manage stress in the classroom, and some teachers themselves have PTSD. They've come from places where they've personally experienced, or their families have experienced severe psychological trauma. So it's a complicated situation, and the Ukraine Children's Action Project, it's called.
Program. My apologies.
That's okay. So this is initially was focused on helping support kids who are psychologically traumatized and kids whose schooling has been interrupted. Which is why, when you came to the program yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was yesterday. The whole auditorium was packed with moms and children, and we were distributing new computer tablets so the kids that had to or desired to will be able to learn at home on the tablets.
What's been your learning curve here? When you it's one thing to organize everything from abroad and then to come here and physically see it. I mean, what's struck you most, and what's been your learning curve, as I say?
The first thing that I would say about that is that it has both similarities to the environment I came from and then some very stark differences. So Lviv and much of Ukraine, Ukraine's a modern country, and Lviv is a very modern, really very cool city. It's a UNESCO heritage city. It's a beautiful place. It's filled with young people and life. And then they have an air raid siren, so people are descending into shelters, and they're listening to explosions that are trying to blow up their electrical infrastructure, for example. So it's a mix of feelings. It's pretty much what I expect, and it's only pretty much what I would expect because I've been to a lot of the places in crisis. Because if I hadn't been, I would think that this was still some primitive, Soviet-style community and buildings and very drab people, but it's a very vibrant place.
Well, I know there are just one quick question, because I know we've got an air raid siren imminent here, but what can Americans do who want to help?
they should go to our website. We have a very description about the kind of programs we're doing under the Ukraine Children's Action Project. We're here multiple times. We keep coming back with this. We want to make sure that the money we're raising and that we're distributing is going exactly where it needs to go to help children. This is what it's all about. Otherwise, we're going to end up filled with a lost generation of kids, psychologically traumatized and undereducated. That's horrible.
Well, we can't let that happen. I know a lot of people who support it. We do have an air raid siren, so we're going to have to cut this short.
Yes,
But
we do.
that's life in Ukraine, folks. Slava Ukrainia, Geroyam Slava. We'll talk to you another time.